All right, sixth graders, we are taking a look at the Chapter 5 study guide. This study guide should help you prepare for next week's test on Tuesday. Looking at question number 1. Explain what a negative integer is. Give an example of a negative integer. Excuse my handwriting here, but a negative integer is any number less than 0, right? Any number less than 0, right? If we were to look on a number line, which you'll see down below, any number less than 0 would be a negative integer. So an example could be -1, -2, -3, and so on, right? Number 2, what does absolute value mean? Absolute value means distance from 0. So if you were to have an absolute value of -12, it is still 12 numbers away from 0 on the number line, right? Your number line is your best friend when talking about absolute value. You can measure or count how many spots each number is away from 0. Looking at the next 4 questions, it says write an integer for each situation. A loss of 19 pounds. So if you lose 19 pounds, or if something loses 19 pounds, it's going to be a -19. If you lose, looking at number 4, if you gain 30 pounds, you have a +30. Number 5, if you are rising of 10 degrees, right? If it is 10 degrees outside and you raise 10 degrees, you're raising a +10. Number 6, I owe my friend $25. If I owe my friend $25, I am in debt $25. So that is -25. Looking at these number lines, it says graph each set of integers on the number line. So we have 0 in the middle. And then we're going to go to -1, right? Just because it's right next to it. Then we'll go right next to that, which is a -2. So we'll have -2, -1. And then we're going to go up to 3. 1, 2, 3. Number 8, we got to graph a 2, an 8. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down here. A -2 again. And a -5. Number 9, we have a -4 right here, a -3 right next to it. Then we have a -1, a 2, and a 5. On number 10, we have a number 1 right next to 0, -2 and -3 are right next to each other. And then we have a 5 down here, just like up above. So those are numbers 1 through 10. Take a look and make sure you have them correct. Looking at the next page, we'll take a look at our vertical number lines. First one, number 11, graphing a 2 and a -4 5 and a negative 3. We got number 12. We already have our 0. We're going to go down 4 for negative 4. And then we're going to go all the way up to 8. Then back down to negative 1. Back up to 2. For 13, we're looking at negative 6. Down here. And then go up 3 for negative 3. Going up top for number 5. And down 2 for 3. So taking a look at our vertical number lines, the positives are up, negatives are down. Taking a look at 14 through 19, dealing with absolute values in expressions, we are going to start with 14. The absolute value of 8, which is 8, minus the absolute value of negative 3, which is 3. So we have 8 minus 3 equals 5. Number 15, we have the absolute value of 9, which is 9, plus the absolute value of 2 plus 3, which is 5. That equals 14. Number 16, absolute value of negative 5 is 5, plus the absolute value of 8 plus 1, which is 9, to give us another 14. Number 17, the absolute value of negative 6 is 6, minus the absolute value of 4, which is 4, gives us 2. Number 18, the absolute value of negative 10 is 10, minus the absolute value of 1 plus 3, which is 4. 10 minus 4 is 6. Number 19, the absolute value of 9 minus the absolute value of 6 plus 3, which is 9, equals 0. Moving on to our story problems. It says a bird is flying 1,742 feet above sea level. So we have our bird up here at 1,742 feet above sea level. And an ant is down here at 23 feet below sea level, so negative 23. What is the distance between these two measurements? So because negative 32 or negative 23 is below ground, we are going to add that 23 to figure out the distance between the two. So we take 1742 plus 23, giving us 1765. Our next two story problems are very similar. Sarah is hiking up a mountain that is 823 feet above sea level. And Dave is in a cave 45 feet below sea level. So we are going to figure out the distance between these two. So we will add them again and figure out that 823 plus 45 equals 868. Number 22, Mary is swimming 3 feet below sea level. Carmen is on her way to Florida 1,163 feet above sea level. What is the distance between these two measurements? Again, we're doing the same thing. So we are taking 1,163 and adding the 3 feet, giving us 1,166. For all of these story problems, we are just adding the absolute value, just because the below sea level technically are negative numbers, but in order to find that measurement between the two, we are adding the absolute values of both. Looking at greater than, less than, or equal to, number 23, -3 is bigger than -4. The absolute value of 11 and the absolute value of -10. So 11 is going to be greater than 10. Number 25, absolute value of -22 is 22, which is going to be bigger than the absolute value of 19. Number 26, -9 is greater than -16. 27, the absolute value of -13 is 13, which will be bigger than 3. And number 28, the absolute value of 12 is bigger than 10. Ordering our sets of integers, number 29 and 30. The bigger the negative, the lower the number. So -30 is going to be first. It's the least. Then -24. Then 9, 16, and 25 is the greatest. Number 30, -54 is the smallest, followed by -23, 0, 33, and 90. 31 and 32 are getting skipped. And on the next page, 33 and 34 are getting skipped. For number 35, we are labeling the quadrants. I like to think of a C when I label these. So you have number 1 up in the top right, number 2 in the top left, number 3 in the bottom left, and number 4 in the bottom right. Why do I say a C? Because you move from top right around to the bottom right. 36 through 43 ask us to identify the point that corresponds with each ordered pair. 3, -4 is letter C. 4, 3 is letter F. -4, -6 is letter D. -3 and 3 is letter E. 2 and 6 is letter A. -5, -3 is letter G. -6 and 1 is letter B. And 6, -2 is letter H. Looking at our last page, 44 through 50, we are going to graph and label some points. Number 44, letter A is going to go at 3, -4. 3, -4 is right there. That's letter A. Letter B is going at 4, 5, which is up here. And that's letter B. Letter C is at -3, -2, which is right here. Letter D is at -2 and 5, which is up here. That's letter D. Letter E is at 6 and 3, which is right there. And that's letter D. excuse me, letter E. Letter F is at 3, -6 down here. And letter G is at -4, -7, which is down here. Looking at our graph on the bottom, write the ordered pair next to each point on the graph. If you take a look here, I have labeled each point, and you can check your work from there.